Welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I'm going to give you an update from a mall show I set up at. So this is the first all sports card, supposedly sports card show I've set up in over 2 years. Previously, I've only set up at Comic Cons with mostly comic book and Marvel cards. So this is my first sports card show. Now, the show was the Sports Memorabilia Collectors Expo at the Albany Colony Mall, March 26th and 27th. So last weekend. And when I decided to go, so I was kind of last minute decided to ask if there was tables available. I did ask the promoter if I could bring comic books and other things, and he was very receptive to that idea. And it worked out really well. So I'll go through that show. And there was autograph guests at this mall show. So there was Dwight Gooden, Ray Knight, Larry Johnson, and Latrell Sprewell. So four fairly well-known athletes were signed at this mall show, and it was really cool. And I'll go through some of my observations and my pickups from that show and give you my perspective as a dealer. And I'll spend a lot of time talking about prices and comps and sort of, what my philosophy for selling was and the reception to the stuff I brought and to the collectors and dealers that were there. And it was a very interesting experience for sure. So I put my thoughts together, kind of a little outline as far as, what I thought the show was. And so I'll start with, the reason why I went was one, the family had been wanting to kind of get out of the house, and so we, thought we would go to a show. I would set up, make some money. We would, stay at a hotel, go out to eat, make it kind of a family friendly thing. The kids would go shopping, and all that stuff. So this kind of was, sort of what we wanted. We were hoping to go to, maybe Buffalo or Syracuse, but this show was more conducive to our schedule because we got tournaments and all kinds of crazy stuff with the kids coming up. We got birthdays, so this kind of worked out schedule wise. But I also was going because I really, really need to clear out some space and get rid of some stuff in my collection because I just don't have enough room, and I'm accumulating lots of doubles, lots of things I wanted to trade or sell anyway. So, I decided it's time to kind of just do some inventory clearance and, make way for new product because, if you don't move product or move cards, move things, and you're just a hoarder. And, at some point when you're sitting on so much inventory and you become kind of like, I don't have boxes to put it up in, I'm piling things up everywhere. You're more of a hoarder than you are a collector or a dealer. So I decided it was time to definitely move some stuff. Now, the other reason was I'm trying to build my collection that I really care about, which is, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Alex Schomburg, my Native American collection, things that I really want to keep and put back. So when I went and decided what to bring, I've got lots of extra comic books that, I probably have 5 long boxes of comic books worth between $10 and $2,000, raw. And so I brought some of those and I have them kind of sorted and priced from a previous Comic Con. Even though there was a lot of things that had to be updated as I was looking things up, I realized the prices had really changed on a lot of things. So that was kind of shocking because I thought, well, I set up in November, December time period. It can't be that different, and it really was. And that shows you how fast this market changes, even on modern comic books, which a lot of them are modern. Not a lot of X-Men books from the 70s had changed too much, but there was a few. Um, I also brought Marvel cards, and that was its own little trippy thing because Marvel cards for a lot of dealers are a new thing, and it was a lot of tire kicking and kind of like, you know, non-believers that Marvel cards are worth anything, and so that was an interesting conversation with a lot of dealers and collectors. I brought a lot of vintage, sports cards, football and baseball, and the football sold really quick. The baseball, I had priced differently, so everything that was a double, I priced, pretty much at 90 to 85% of comp. And I sold some of that, a lot of it actually, sold quite a bit of that. But the stuff I either, only had one copy of, or was higher valued, or was things like Mickey Mantles and Ty Cobbs, I priced at full comp, and I really didn't come down off the prices. And that's really important as I go through sort of how the show went. So I had one main display case that had, a lot of my really good cards, like my high-end Marvel cards, my Mickey Mantles, Ty Cobb, Hall of Fame rookie cards, really, really the best of the best. So, that was one display case, and everything else was in a box or out, just laying out. But out laying out was Flawless and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady autos and things like that. So, a lot of good stuff wasn't in that case. So it was very interesting to see the reaction to a couple $1,000 cards that were just kind of in a box. And I think that made a lot of collectors and dealers very interested into what was in my boxes. And it was kind of funny because I didn't have a lot of time to prepare. I didn't have everything priced out. And I took a lot of extra inventory. So a lot of it was just sitting in boxes, and I couldn't put it all out. And so people started to kind of go nuts about ripping into boxes and got kind of over exuberant at some point and kind of button each other out. And it was kind of interesting to see the interaction between the collectors as they were, finding Mahomes rookies and Brady cards in just boxes that weren't out, and kind of, fighting over some things, which, was my fault. I should have been better prepared. But it just showed that there was a high level of interest in cards still, which is great that people were very excited about finding some of these cards in my boxes. So the show was really busy. So I got there late. There was an accident on the road on my way there. And so nothing really planned the way I wanted it, because, I got kids, I got, everyone trying to get in the car, get everything loaded up, get into the show. We're late. It's a mall show, so we're upstairs, so we have to haul everything upstairs. There was no carts for us to use. The promoter said there would be things, but it was really shopping carts, and all the other dealers were hoarding them, as other dealers will do. The sharing is not caring on these shows, so no one was really helping each other. And so we hauled everything up ourselves. Probably I had 5 boxes of comics plus 10 boxes of cards. So it was a lot of stuff. And so that was kind of, again, I was late. I wasn't late for the show. I was there before the show started, but, I wanted to be there an hour to set up, and I was there like half an hour before the show started. So that was my bad. But, what can you do, when you got a wreck and kind of the family kind of not wanting to get up early. At first, there's a lot of dealer-to-dealer sales. And so this is where I'll talk a lot about comps, So I did have a lot of collectors, so I'm not going to say that it wasn't just walk-up traffic or collectors just collecting. But the dealer-to-dealer, interactions, because I didn't get a chance to walk around the show at all, because I had someone at my table from the moment I set cards out to the moment I packed up both days. And nobody else was with me that could just take the table and know what was going on. I didn't have everything priced, so that was, again, a reason why I couldn't just walk away. We tried to price things as we went along, but it just, so many cards. I mean, I'm talking like I brought thousands of stuff with me, and it just, I couldn't put a sticker on everything. So that was one thing, and two, the dealer to dealer, you just know, right? Because they're asking for percentages, and that they want to resell. And again, I had my main case, and I wanted to make sure that was the stuff I wanted to keep. If I couldn't sell it at the price I wanted, but everything else outside of it, I was willing to deal on, and I moved a lot of stuff that was outside those cases. So just to give you an idea, of everything that was in the case, I sold 2 cards. I sold I think a 51 Duke Snyder and a 68 Mantle in my case. That's it. I had a 52 Mantle, I had a Bowman, 53 Satchel Paige, 59 Gibson rookie card, E93 Ty Cobb, just a lot of nice cards, 66 Mantle, 69 Mantle, all 8s, so just a lot of nice cards, right? And a whole case of those kind of cards, a lot of the Marvel cards, the Royal Foil, Wolverine number to 10, the Spider-Man number to 25. So good cards, right? All, and only 2 sold. So I want to give that perspective, because the next thing I'm going to say is, outside of that, I was willing to deal, and I was going at about 80 to 85% of comp. And my God, you would think I was pricing things like, it was like I was just giving things away. Because, it just, I felt like to some dealers, they were upset that I was selling things under comp. And so it was kind of like, what are you doing? Like, why are you selling things so cheap? And it was really weird for me, because you think, yeah, it's a good deal. And the collectors and a lot of guys were, man, this is awesome. You're easy to deal with. You're reasonable. You're not trying to, get over comp for everything. And, you're willing to come down a little bit, especially on a $20 here or there, it doesn't really affect me. And, and I had a hard time convincing people that a lot of the things I had, especially vintage, were doubles. So I didn't really need to get full 100% book value for everything. Plus, you take into account what eBay takes out of your sales, or if you sell it through an auction, 80-85% is really good. But man, I had some dealers mad. And then, it was, really fun to see the fact that the variety I carried was appreciated, because that was something I was really struggling with as a content creator on YouTube. Is, if you're too kind of diverse, it's hard to have an audience, because people come into your channel looking for very specific things. And when I'm showing, hockey cards and basketball, very little, but comic books, Marvel cards, vintage baseball, Ken Griffey Jr., Alex Schomburg books, Golden Age comics. It's like, oh, you're all over the place, and it's just how I collect and what I like. But at the show, people were like, man, I love your diversity. And that was great. That was very nice for me to get that feedback. And a lot of folks were just happy to have a lot of different things to look at, instead of just, what one guy said, a display case full of shiny new cards, which is what some of the, a lot of the card shows have kind of turned into. I see a lot of that, the Dallas show, just a lot of really shiny new stuff. So that's definitely not my table. But back to the pricing. So first day was fine. No one said much of anything first day. And, it was like, good deals, you're got good stuff, great, really like your table. Everything was positive. Second day, things were not as positive. I had a few people come up and, that were dealers. And so they didn't, for one thing, I want to preface that I know some of these dealers. I've been to shows, and I don't set up a lot. And so the promoter of the other show came up to the table in that area, was asking me some questions. He ended up buying some stuff from me, but, about setting up as a show, like, why are you setting up at this show? Sort of, so to speak. Other people were kind of asking, why don't you set up the other show? I got my reasons. I'm not going to go into bashing and on this channel, but I have my reasons, and so I'm just not interested in setting up that show yet. So that got a little weird with a few dealers, and then I had the guy that came back on day 2, telling me how much I lost money by selling cards to other people instead of him, which was fun, to be told how stupid I am. Then I had the guy show up that said, like that tried the whole, your cards are overgraded. This card really isn't a 3. It was a Ty Cobb card. This is really a 2. Your pricings are crazy. You need to work with me on pricing. You can't sell anything at these prices. I don't know why you're trying to even pick cards out at these prices. Again, those were my showcase cards. And so I kind of quit paying attention to that guy because my wife was with me, and he kept talking to my wife who doesn't know anything about the prices of cards, and finally he just walked away. But I was done. I was like, I'm not going to argue with you on the condition of my cards. They're graded, and if you don't like it, don't buy them. But I don't like it when people come up and say like your card's overgraded, your cards aren't worth what you want for them. That's fine. Don't like the price, don't buy. But he was the only one that really made a point to come back multiple times to tell me how crappy my prices were and how my cards were overgraded. Fine, I don't have to deal with you guys. And so but so that was like day 2. So it was a little bit of a weirdness. Day 2, when I got there, people were just lined up, and I couldn't even unload because they were going through the boxes. And so that is one thing that, I would say from a show etiquette, let the dealer unload. It was a little crazy. So I just say from a show etiquette, don't take cards out of people's boxes before they're set out. Don't pressure the dealer. I know you want to get that deal, and I know what the guy was doing. The first guy that showed up, he saw a card that he thought I had underpriced, and so he was looking for it. And so he's going through all my boxes looking for that one card. I already sold it. And he never asked me what card it was because I think he was trying to like not tip me off that it was a card, that I had underpriced. Finally, he couldn't find it, and he's like, "Hey, what happened to this card?" I'm like, "I sold it." I could save the guy and me, some time if he just asked me, but oh well. But then that's the guy who told me like, well, I underpriced it and I lost a lot of money. And if I'd have just sold it to him, whatever. So, as far as the show itself, hot and cold, Josh Allen was hot. We're in the New York area. He's the hottest guy right now. Brady, Deshaun Watson, and Mahomes were the guys that people were asking the most about. On the baseball side, you got Volpe, and Soto were the 2 guys that were hot on the baseball side. Wander, I had no one look at Wander cards. I had a lot of Wander cards, and no one cared anything about Wander. It was really weird. Julio Rodriguez was asked about a little bit, but Soto and Anthony Volpe were, New York area, obviously with Volpe, but no Dominguez. I mean, no one cared about Dominguez cards. It was an interesting. Baseball wasn't really, in terms of rookies, wasn't really hot. I saw a lot of folks buying, they were buying vintage rookie baseball off me and autographs. They were looking at, I sold Tony Gwynn autos. So it's like they were looking for autos of Hall of Famers and vintage. So rookies were not really hot at this show, for me anyway. But I did sell some, but it wasn't like the thing that they were looking for the most. The other, thing I sold a lot of Peyton Manning cards, autos and things like that. So, it just feels like the continuation from other shows, the greats of the great, I sold a Hank Aaron auto. I sold a Tony Gwynn auto. I sold a Peyton Manning auto. These kind of, I had a not Jim Brown. I had a Walter Payton auto. They got a lot of looks and people looking at it and trying to buy it. So that was very interesting. Now, the hottest card I had at the show that I probably had 30 to 40 people ask about, but no one bought it because I had it, again, at full price, was my 53 Top Satchel Paige, a PSA 7. I had, probably, and my 52 Bowman PSA 6 Mickey Mantle. I probably had 30 to 40 people ask about that, but more people ask about the Paige than the Mantle, but that card just seems to draw people like crazy to it. As soon as they see it in the case, they're like, I want to look at it. What do you want for it? If I had the money, I'd buy it. Just a lot of comments like that. So you know that card is special when you just have that much action on a card and you've got it at full price and people are still like, yeah, it's high, but I really like that card. So it was cool. Like that was a card that to me was the hit of the show. People just like to just look at it. So as far as things that were going around the show, so what I bought at the show, and I go through what I bought and what I didn't buy. So here's what I bought. So I bought 3 of these, which are Marcelo Meyer base rookie cards. So I didn't open the product. So the guy's walking around and he had some chromes that he'd already sold. I wish I'd got the chromes, but I'm just gonna build some volume in these cards. I did the same thing with Wander Franco, Soto. Just get a lot of base cards, and when they spike a little bit, you can maybe make $5 or $10. So on a card, get them graded, maybe who knows. I picked up this Topps Chrome Jay-Z card. I think it's one of those just interesting cards as Drake and all this, these celebrities get more and more involved in sports cards. I don't know, maybe a card like this pops at some point in the future. It's already popped once or twice. But it's one of those really cool cards, and it's the Chrome version, so I don't know. It's worth a gamble. I got it at a nice price. Next up was a bunch of Marvel cards, and so these are just out of Fleer Ultra. They're nothing huge or special, but they're just kind of cool. You've got the Power Blast cards, kind of foily. You can kind of see the foil on them. So I've got, a couple of those. There's Captain America. These Lethal Weapons cards, again, they're shiny, foily. So, you got Psylocke, which is a good character. So, there's Wolverine. That's a cool card. I didn't pay much. I think I paid less than $5 a card here for everything. So these are just really nice. Domino, 3 dominoes. So again, some doubles, but and then these, acetate cards from Fleer Ultra. They're not hugely expensive, but I got Cyclops, Gambit, Jean Grey, Magneto, no Wolverine, but Storm, and then there's Iron Man. So, these cards are just fun to have because having a diverse Marvel cards, because going back to Marvel cards, I didn't sell anything really huge, but I sold a lot of mid-level, let's say from $5 up to $150. So PMGs at $100, $150 for some of the real cheap ones, like the villains that no one likes, Scorpion, people like that. People were wanting just to have a PMG because they just think they're cool cards and they're so hot. I sold some sketch cards, thank God. I think I sold maybe 4 or 5 sketch cards, the show. So again, people are interested in the cards. They don't really know a lot about them. Some skepticism, but people were willing to kind of buy a few of them to kind of test the waters. I just think they want, from a dealer perspective, they just want to have a few of the hotter cards that are out there now just to see, catch, lightning in a bottle maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I think it's a very interesting time, right now with Marvel cards. And so, I'm buying Marvel cards, just because I like them and I've always bought them and I've always had them. But it's fun to see these dealers who've never dealt with them buying, like, asking me questions like, is Gambit better than Havoc? Like, which one would you rather have? If you had, the Dr. Octopus or Scorpion, which of those 2 guys is going to do better long term? I'm like, I don't know. Like, they're just characters. They don't, it's hard to really judge which one's going to be better. So on to the other sports cards I bought. So the 2 big ones, I bought a Durant rookie card, PSA 9. I think I got it for 80%, 70% of comp, depending on which comp you looked at. I had cash on me and I don't have this card. And I don't have a lot of basketball, and that's on purpose, because I'm not a huge basketball fan or collector. But I do have some. I have a box of basketball with LeBron James rookies in it. I had LeBron autos. I just recently sold Steph Curry auto. So I've had basketball, even though I don't showcase a lot of it, I have, some basketball. So I like this card, and I have a whole stack of Jordan inserts, and some of them were pretty cool. So I do have Jordans as well. I just don't really talk or show them much because I just don't feel like they're part of my main collection. They're just kind of something I've had, and I get them when I, here and there, but they're not a main focus. But this card was, something I feel like I hold and, flip or trade or do something with later. And this last card to me fits really well with my collection, and I do feel like it's a really cool card because it's one of these cards that has recently grown in value, but it's the 2001 Michael Jordan Chrome Refractor. And again, it's a Wizards card, right? So that's not typically, it's the Bull stuff, but his Wizard stuff sometimes is a little shorter printed, but it's a cool refractor. It's a nice photo, and I think it's just a cool card, and it's kind of growing in value. It's going between $500 and $600, and I think it's one of those cards that will continue to kind of hold value. I think any OG refractor of Jordan, like base card, is investable and is something that you'd want to hold and keep. And it's graded. It's a 9. It's a little off center, but it's still a 9, and it's a cool card. So that's it for the show. I'm going to be doing a huge mail day coming up. I've got some really big cards coming in, some big comic books to show off. I've got a Holy Grail comic book coming in that I've tried to buy last year, but the dealer wouldn't ship it to me and reneged on the deal. So that's coming in. I'm excited about that now. So, but that's it. And again, hopefully you guys will see me again at a show in the future. I've been, a lot of folks wanted me to, give them like a mailing list, or I need to come up with business cards to let people know when I'm, so they can contact me, or let them know when I'm going to be setting up again. So that was great. Again, I'm planning on doing Buffalo or Syracuse sometime soon. I'll definitely put it on my Instagram and let people know about that. I'll be posting cards on Instagram pretty soon again. And thanks, and I appreciate it, and hope you guys have a great day, and hope to see you guys out there soon at another show. Bye.